Good evening and welcome. This is our Thursday, May 12, 2016 edition of the Government News Brief. In the news this evening, today is International Nurses Day, the Sapphire Ring Road project moves ahead despite inclement weather, and Finance Minister touts return of increments for public servants. I am Azim Khan and this is the Government News Brief. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Here are the details. Probe into the state of the local education system is yielding quality contributions, says Commission's Chairman Ed Caesar. Here is that report.
Thus far, there has been 3 consultations in addition to the work being done with the regional education officers.
To hear their concerns, to hear the progress they're making and so on. Now, those 3 consultations have been, to use a word, a revelation. We've had persons who came and made presentations, touching presentations. When you listen to them, you recognize we do have a number of people who have the interests of Guyana at heart, who care for the young people in the school system, who want to see improvement. That, I'm sure, touched all of us, all the commissions who were present.
Chairman of the Commission of Inquiry, Ministry of Education, Ed Caesar. In an effort to review, revise, upgrade, and extend the education sector's strategic plan, the Minister of Education has launched a probe into the education system. Employing several methodologies, the Commission has been holding public consultations, hearings, where persons make oral submissions on their perception of the state of the education system and their recommendations for its enhancement. Technical Facilitator, Ministry of Education, Vincent Alexander says the probe is expected to provide baseline data for the revision, upgrading, and extension of the education system.
Whenever one engages in this kind of exercise, one has to be able to do some comparison. Mm-hmm. And the basis for that comparison has to be at the particular point in time to establish what is the baseline. The baseline is not constant. It changes over time. So if you're going to have a new sector plan, have an inquiry to inform that, then you have to establish what is the baseline at this point in time so that you can then use that baseline to project beyond it for the future.
The Commission of Inquiry is the mechanism which is being used to interact with the stakeholders for them to help in the process of identifying what they consider to be the problems, deficiencies, shortfalls, and also to indicate what they think could be solutions. Suel Findley-Williams, Public Relations Officer, Ministry of Education, points out that a greater understanding of the overall delivery of education will be garnered from the COI.
And what this does as well, I'd like to add for officers of the ministry, is to really give us an understanding of what obtains in the regions and all the work that we've been doing over the years. How has it really been impacting our children or parents, and to really see it as perhaps as a self-evaluation, aside from what we're going to do with the strategy and so on, and see how we can correct perhaps our attitudes, the way we do things, the way we speak to people, our overall delivery, how can we address our staff, what are things that we need to do to change our program and our focus in education.
The COI project into the education system has a 4-month duration. Minister of Education, Dr. Rupert Rupnarine, on assuming office, had signaled his intention to reform the education system towards making it more responsive to addressing the country's development needs. For this Government News Brief, Namil Baines-Rowe.
Minister of Public Telecommunications Cathy Hughes says the process of change is a long one, but the government has achieved a lot in its first year.
One of the major successes which the minister speaks of is the strengthening of state institutions to make them serve Guyanese effectively. Specific mention was made of the Ministry of Public Infrastructure.
We are guaranteeing that ordinary people don't face the challenges of too much water in their homes and all the losses that go with that. Sometimes we want to make simple of things like just cleaning the city and cleaning the mall.
Pointing out achievements for the year in the tourism sector, Minister Cathy Hughes says that Guyana is now known to the world through significant marketing efforts.
In November of last year, we had a British company that listed Guyana as one of 12 places in the world that you had to visit in 2016. That's marketing we can't afford to pay for. At the end of the day, we've had more visitors that have come to Guyana.
In the telecommunications sector, the process of reform has been advanced as Guyana is now accessing 4G internet service.
We had legislation that sat in a select committee and laid dormant since 2012. And we're now bringing that legislation to the Parliament. And of course, finally, we've been able to allocate. We've taken the strong decision to allocate additional frequency. And as most of Guyana knows, we are moving towards 4G. So I want to say, please be patient with us. We can't change what we developed in the last 30 years, 23 years, or how many ever years overnight. But I commit to you that we will make a difference in your life.
Minister Hughes has committed to working with all stakeholders and Guyanese to ensure that Guyana becomes a better place where equal opportunities are provided for all. For the Government News Brief, Sonika Thorne reporting.
Adverse weather has not prevented the Sapphire Ring Road project from moving ahead. Renetta LaFleur reports.
In an update on the Sapphire Ring Road project, Nielsen McKenzie, Community Coordinator, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, says that despite the bad weather, work is ongoing. McKenzie explains that the weather is solely responsible for the project's setback.
Major issue is rain, because the road as is should have been in better shape in terms of work. Work has been impeded by the inclement weather, and as soon as this weather eases up, and the contractors have to be complimented because they're working beyond the call of duty to ensure that there is almost immediate remedy and relief.
Contractors are currently working to ensure that commuters and motorists access the completed road.
They're doing the shoulders, and they're doing some deep patching and then scarifying, and then they'll have the overlay of crusher run and the other aspects. But at this point in time, the plan was to seal this area here, as I said earlier, to allow for smoother passage.
Street lights are also being installed in several areas.
We're installing street lights. This is the Dennis Street area, throughout Dennis Street. A field, B field, C, D, E. We're working on A field right now, Dennis Street, right through to the end of Dennis Street, which is the red shop area. And we're ensuring that street lights are put right through this Dennis Street. This is going to be the stand-out street, obviously because it's the main entranceway into the scheme.
Culverts are also being rehabilitated. McKenzie is imploring the residents to continue to be patient as the team works to ensure that the project is completed to the prescribed standard. Renetta LaFleur for the Government News Brief.
Today, May 12, is designated International Nurses Day. Guyana joined the rest of the world in observance of the day under the theme, Nurses, a Force for Change, Improving Health Systems Resilience. The activities kicked off this morning with a march by healthcare professionals in recognition of nurses' ongoing contribution to the health sector. The Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation also held a church service this morning. A press release from the Ministry of Public Health stated that the important role played by nurses in improving health systems resilience locally was underscored by Public Health Minister Dr. George Norton, who highlighted the vital contribution of nurses to the world. He said that every day nurses provide leadership, innovation, and advocacy to meet the healthcare needs of Guyanese. In today's edition of Reflections of Independence, broadcaster Vic Insanali shares his recollection of the country's atmosphere on May 26, 1966, when Guyana officially became an independent nation.
Before the flag unfurled, this is the memory that sticks with everybody else because of the friction that there was at the time.
Yes.
The fact that Jagan and Burnham embraced in public view, in it really, I mean, a very warm embrace that set the tone for that night.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan touts a return of increments for public sector employees. Here is that report.
I hope to see, for example, a return of increment. I mean, years ago, this business about salary increases every year never happened.
Minister Jordan, speaking about his government's achievements after 1 year in office, also expressed the desire to conclude negotiations quickly and to pay public servants.
I hope by soon that we can conclude some kind of arrangement to have the public servants paid so that they can get their money. I look forward to the conclusion quickly of those, the start and ending of those negotiations, so we can pay the public servants, and so it will be a smoother disbursement rather than a lumpy disbursement coming towards Christmas.
The minister believes the return to increments will boost productivity and output by public servants.
I don't think it gives the worker confidence in terms of plus also across the board can never compensate a worker relative to the other person. If all of us are going to get across the board, why should I work as hard as So it doesn't act as an incentive for workers. So we establish scales, and we establish increment, annual performance based on performance, and we do.
Meanwhile, Minister Jordan says he's working toward an early presentation of next year's budget. I am Kinaki Amsterdam for Government's News Brief.
GuyExpo 2016 opened this evening at the National Exhibition site Sapphire under the theme 50 Years Guyana Means Business, Promoting Enterprise and Driving Productivity. We are pleased to inform you that Gina will be participating in the 4-day event. We will be having a pictorial exhibition on pre- and post-independence. Developmental projects will also be highlighted through photographs. All visitors to GuyExpo are encouraged to visit Gina's booth, located in the service pavilion on the complex. The defunct Mocha Hydro Project station still benefits the Region 9 community. Here is a look at what's happening.
The area, which is known for its picturesque falls, is an asset for the community-based tourism effort, according to tourism operator and resident Alton Primus.
The falls always existed. People always used to come since I know myself as a little boy. But people never used to litter as when the road opened, the bridge opened.
This tourist attraction provided income to tour guides due to the fact that residents had to protect their drinking water.
And a lot of people start to come in as they like and start littering. And we really depend on the water for drinking as a community. So we had to put some things in place in that we start to monitor the people as they visit the area, right? And so they pay a fee, and so we keep the place clean. Whenever visitors come, we are with them, make sure that they do not litter, right? And the community benefit from the income.
The operation of the Mocha Hydro plant began in 1999 but was disrupted by a landslide in 2003. Since then, it has been out of commission. Government plans to repair the hydropower station as it seeks to use alternative energy sources to power towns and communities across Guyana.
This has been another edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on Gina's website. We encourage you to subscribe to our website and YouTube channel. You can also like and follow us on Facebook so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Remember to join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching.